Right, from sports this, let's get straight into it. Of course, our club live right here at the Leonardo. Of course, it all is all about the greatest rivalry in all of sports. Some people say in rugby, but I'm telling you right now, it is the greatest rivalry in all of sport because we're talking about more than 102 years of rivalry between the Springboks and also the All Blacks. But I'm also joined, of course, by two special people. One of them, as you know, is the legendary fly half who goes by the name of Dan Carter. I could go on about Dan Carter with so many things, but we're going to get to him as well. But we're not joined alone. Dan Carter is also joined here by Sibabalwe Sesmani, who is, of course, the South African entrepreneur and group CEO of Unorthodox Group as well. We're going to be speaking to the both of them just to, have a conversation about, everything that has to do with the greatest rivalry, but also Dan Carter being here as well as a legend of the All Blacks. So good morning to both of you. I'm going to start with Dan. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, South Africa.
Sibabalwe, good morning.
Good morning, South Africa.
Yeah, good morning, South Africa, indeed. And that's what Morning Live is all about. Dan, I'm going to start with you, of course. This is about a big fixture between the All Blacks and South Africa, right? You are someone who's gone back-to-back World Cups, 2011, 2015, World Rugby Player of the Year, 3 times, tied with Richard McCoy in particular as well. We're talking about, 112 test matches, 1,598 points, a record that has been set in terms of that. But at the moment, when you're watching the New Zealand back in the day, in particular, they're the most dominant. They were number 1, and now they are number 2 when it comes to this. Facing the Springboks, how do you feel about that fixture?
Yeah, I'm so excited for this rivalry and this test series. We've had the entree, and now the main course is just around the corner tomorrow and with the first test match. So what I love about this rivalry is you got the number 1 and 2 teams in the world going at it over 4 test matches, and we always bring out the best in each other. So yes, we're up against the world champions, the Springboks, who have been so dominant for so long. And that's the biggest challenge you want as an All Black, to travel to South Africa in some of the most hostile stadiums and environments and try and get the job done. So they've got a huge challenge ahead of them, but one that I know the team are looking forward to.
As well, I want to know from you as well, how important was it to bring someone like Dan here, of course, as a legend of the All Blacks, and just to have him here in particular for something so historic as this? We're talking about 4 test matches. The first one, Ellis Park. It's just already the one ground where, it has so much historic significance. So can you talk to us about that?
So first of all, we haven't done this in over 30 years. I think the last time we did a tour like this was in 1996. And we've seen some of the matches that have been played with the local franchises. So already you can see the excitement building up. But also, it's so important to see, and it's actually great to see the relationship that the Springboks have with the All Blacks, and we've had it for all time. If you look at the All Blacks, I think their longest running club was from the 1800s. For us, if you look at South Africa, the first club that we could look at, rugby club, was dated from about 1902. So we're talking about really 2 great sporting nations that have played rugby for the longest time. But then we also enjoy this beautiful relationship where I think South Africans don't mind losing to the All Blacks, even though we won't win, because South Africa is the best team in the world. And Dan told me that him and I are not speaking till Sunday, which is perfectly fine. But a rivalry of this nature is amazing, I think, just for the ecosystem of sport. Myself as an entrepreneur, if we look at it, we see how much it contributes back to the economy. So sports in itself is so important. And then when you see test matches that have this much gravitas, it's just amazing, and what it does to the ecosystem of sport.
And I love that so much, because I actually want to ask Dan something when it comes to, the World Cup will be coming up very soon as well. And looking at the New Zealand team, the All Blacks at the moment, they've been playing against the URC teams here at home, and it's just been, I don't want to say a mauling per se, but it has been quite the test in particular for quite a lot of our teams, heading into this particular fixture as well. So how confident would you say you are in the current All Blacks team? They're also in some good form as well. Second in the entire world. So how important do you think that number 1 spot is?
From experience, you can't pick who's going to win the Rugby World Cup 12 months out from Rugby World Cup. I'll be a lot more confident in my answer after the next 4 test matches, just to see exactly where we are, because we've got a new coaching group. So Dave Rennie's got a new regime. He's really building some squad depth, some combinations. He's had 3 great test matches to date. but we're about to test ourselves against the world champions, and we will know exactly where we stand. But what I love about a tour series like this is we're creating a lot more depth. We're giving guys an opportunity to to wear the black jersey and experience what it means to be an All Black. So a tour like this will really help set us up for the future with the Rugby World Cup. This time next year.
I mean, that's something that is quite important. Sibabalwe, I also want to just know from you, right? How important is this? Like you said, it contributes to also South Africa's economy, right? In terms of these games being played, people coming to see these particular games. I mean, two great teams. What was the idea behind we actually need to get the two greatest rivals of all time, right, in terms of sport together for something important as this? And when you're looking at this as well, how important is it for maybe legends like Dan to link up with other legends? I mean, I was speaking to Dan just before we got on here about Schalk Burger. He said that the toughest opponent he's ever faced was actually Schalk Burger. And he's put this even on paper, on articles as well. So how important is this for you?
For us, it's important because what sports does is that it touches so many different industries. I mean, we just came from the Soccer World Cup, and after, the team that won, I don't know if I can actually say it, Spain, when they won, we saw an influx of tourists going to Spain. So already we can see the tourism industry thriving from that. But from our 6 years as an Orthodox of being in sport, we've seen how much it has built other industries around it. I mean, if you look at some of the sporting content that is out there, it's things that were not out there 6 years ago. Bringing legends like Dan, it was a great idea, but now this is something of commercial value that we can do, and it gives other legends, as you were saying, an opportunity to also come down. I mean, when we fetched Dan from the airport, there were so many other legends there as well, so we can see how much it builds out the ecosystem, but then it also encourages the talent pool that we have to strive towards sport, but it also increases that interest in other sporting nations that aren't traditionally sporting nations. The last test match is being held in Baltimore in America, for instance, and America is not known for rugby, but it means that the sport in itself is expanding to other countries, which is absolutely exceptional.
I mean, looking at that, you've mentioned something I think is quite important. You said players, right? We're talking about current players as well. Let's talk about the current players. Let's look at the Springboks. Let's look at also the All Blacks. I want you to just pick out two players, but one in particular from the Springboks and one from the All Blacks, who you think is just playing a very important role in these particular teams.
It's hard for me to go past the two number 10s. They're both young. They're both relatively new to Test match rugby. And they're both such exciting, talented players with all the skill sets. So I'm really looking forward to watching Sasha match up against Ruben Love. So what a two amazing, talented rugby players going at it, but they cannot play the way that they want to play without that forward domination up front. So typically that's where South Africa really thrive, is that physicality, that set piece, and using their big forwards to try and create some dominance so that those superstars in that backline can shine. And that's exactly what the All Blacks will be trying to nullify, is to match their physicality, to match them at set piece time, and then hopefully they can unleash their dangerous outside backs as well. So I think that's been the biggest evolution for the South African side since 2023. They have really, they know how to win, but now they've got this speed, this excitement. You've got Damian Williams at fullback who's dangerous. You know what Colby can do. That back three is just so dangerous, but they cannot use those attacking weapons without creating that forward dominance up front. So that's the biggest challenge for the All Blacks, is to try and nullify that and match their physicality.
Right, let's get to the most important part about all of this, in particular when it comes to the Greatest Rivalry Tour. Predictions. I mean, there are 4 tests that are going to be happening, but the one that really matters is the one at Ellis Park. So, Sibs, I'm going to start with you and ask you, how confident or either how petrified do you feel for the Saturday?
Why would I be petrified? We world champs. I don't understand. I'm quite confident, but then again, New Zealand is such an amazing component for the Springboks. I mean, we revere them. We love the New Zealand team so much, but we're obviously going to win.
All right, Dan. And I'm going to just puff up my chest a little bit for this one. What is your confidence? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this fixture?
You know, we're obviously up against the number one team in the world, so I'm not sitting here overly confident, but at the same time, there's just a huge amount of respect. And what I do know about this rivalry is we bring the best out of each other. There's no better place to test yourself as an All Black than in front of a very hostile Ellis Park, and what a cauldron the All Blacks are walking into, and it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be challenging, it will feel like everything is against you as a team, but they're the moments that you thrive to win in. So I'm hopeful that the boys can get the job done and you know, get their first test win, but it's going to be a huge challenge.
All right, so you're here first on Morning Live Sport. Of course, it's all about legends, entrepreneurs, confidence, and the Greatest Rivalry Tour. Of course, we'll be back straight after the break. You're watching Morning Live.